as a granddaughter of a veteran and a great niece of one that died at the Somme, my father, my husband, before we begin, let's give a round of applause for our beloved veterans. Palmer Trinity is so grateful for all of you to be here, all of our visitors. We so appreciate your presence here. We also welcome you to our brand new Trinity Chapel, which was consecrated in February of 2021 by Bishop Eaton. So we're very happy to have this beautiful place, and we're so grateful for the leadership of Patrick Roberts and the Board of Trustees in making this dream become a reality. And without further ado, I'd like to have our headmaster welcome you to our school. Mr. Roberts?
Good morning and welcome, and just to echo the words of Chaplain Cassini, I am here humbly and in gratitude for the service of our distinguished veterans to be standing and to be at this moment and to welcome you to our school. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for your service, and I hope you'll enjoy this chance to be together and celebrate this special day in community.
And now we have a brand new presentation. This is the first time, Mrs. Queen, is this the first time the symphony has played in an audience? So here our wonderful symphony.
What an absolutely beautiful performance. Again, let's give these wonderful musicians another round of applause. Thank you. I am so honored and so glad to be together on this very special occasion. It is today that we as a nation, as a school, as a greater community, pause, reflect, express our most sincere thank you to honor our veterans and all of those who serve in the various branches of the military. Today, we salute all of those courageous men and women who have proudly served our country and for whom so much is owed. We gather today, and we do so with deep, everlasting thanks, with genuine gratitude, with the utmost respect and the appreciation for such selfless service. Thank you. Before we go forward with our full program, I would like to especially thank a few special visitors today that we have: Chairman Pepe Diaz, Commissioner Danielle Cohen-Higgins, Mayor of Palmetto Bay, members of the Village Council, and all of our dignitaries today for joining us. Let's give them a round of applause. And I will also give special thanks to our featured speaker this morning, Village Manager and friend, Colonel Nick Morano. Please, let's give him a round of applause. Thank you as well to our own PTS faculty and staff members who are veterans, and they will be introduced later today in our program. And again, I want to thank all of our students who are part of this incredible service today. As you may or may not know, this particular service has become quite a tradition here at our school. This is our 8th year to host this service and to host our distinguished visitors, which will have breakfast after the service. And so we are incredibly proud and honored to have this today and to have all of our families joining us as well. I am proud of our school and how we take this important time to honor those who have served and provide such an opportunity for community partnership. Again, thank you for being with us today. I'd like to ask Senior Brittany Mills if she'll step up here and share with all of you some exciting information about a new branch of the Armed Forces. Please welcome Brittany.
Good morning, everyone. I am a senior at Palmer Trinity, and I will be introducing the Space Force. The Space Force is the 6th independent branch of the military that was carved out of the Air Force beginning in December of 2019. It is responsible for operating and defending military satellites and ground stations that provide communications, navigation, and Earth observation. Here's a video on the origins of the Space Force.
We will fight in an environment with no other doubt, or left or right.
The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Almighty God, we commend you your gracious care in keeping all the men and women of our armed forces at home and abroad. Defend them day by day with your heavenly grace. Strengthen them in their trials and temptations. Give them courage to face the perils which beset them, and grant them a sense of your abiding presence wherever they may be. In your holy name, amen.
Good morning. To all of our visitors, I'm Pete Tomac, head of middle school, and I say welcome. And to all of our veterans, thank you for your service. At this time, please remain standing for the presentation of colors by the Miami-Dade Police Department's Honor Guard. Please remain standing for the singing of the national anthem by Katarina Marin.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Catalina Dieguez will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Place your right hand over your heart and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for the Palmer Trinity School Honor Pledge and School Prayer.
Please join me in our school honor code. As a member of the Palmetto Trinity School community, I acknowledge and affirm my duty to act with honesty, integrity, and respect in all aspects of school life, and I expect all others to do the same.
Please join me in the school prayer. O God, our Heavenly Father, the source of all wisdom, we ask your blessing on Palmer Trinity School. Let there be light to this place, light to the mind, light to the heart, and light to the will, that we may grow in knowledge, love, and service of you and each other, now and forever. Amen.
Please be seated.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ashley Chapman, and as head of the upper school, I welcome all our guests and visitors out this morning. It is my privilege to recognize the armed forces this morning. As I call the arm, could I ask those of you who are here who represented that arm of service, please stand. The United States Army. The United States Air Force. The United States Coast Guard. The United States Marine Corps. The United States Navy. The Reserve Forces, including the National Guard and the United States Space Force. If I can ask all those members to please stand, and thank you very much for your service.
It is now my honor to introduce a very special young gentleman, one of our own, Mr. Matthew Bauer. And he has worked incredibly hard and received an honor that I will share with you. Created in 1911, Eagle Scout is the highest rank of the Scouts BSA, formerly Boy Scouts of America. It takes years of hard work, service, and determination to become an Eagle Scout. And this prestigious milestone is recognized across the country and the world. Prominent service personnel, astronauts, United States senators, and others count Eagle Scout rank among their achievements. Matthew Bauer earned his Eagle Scout in May this year with Troop 336 at St. Thomas Episcopal Parish after being involved with scouting there for almost 11 years. Matthew's journey to Eagle culminated in his Eagle Scout project, where he led the troop in the construction of 10 dog beds for Paw Patrol Animal Rescue and Sanctuary, an animal rescue organization here in Miami dedicated to saving and rehoming abandoned, found, and surrendered animals whose goal is to place healthy and happy pets into forever homes. Please join me in a hearty round of congratulatory applause for Matthew.
The Purple Heart Medal is presented to service members who have been wounded or killed as a result of enemy action while serving in the U.S. military. A Purple Heart is a solemn distinction and means a service member has greatly sacrificed themselves or paid the ultimate price while in the line of duty. According to the National Purple Heart Hall of Honor, more than 1.8 million Purple Heart medals have been presented to service members since the award was created in 1782. One example of how this award is earned can be seen by President John F. Kennedy, who is the only U.S. president with a Purple Heart. Kennedy served in the Navy during World War II and injured his back when a Japanese destroyer collided with his patrol torpedo boat near the Solomon Islands. As his boat sank, Kennedy refused to let his injury stop him from towing a badly burned crew member to safety. Kennedy swam with the man's life jacket strap clenched between his teeth for 3 miles before reaching an island and bringing the man safely to shore. It takes great courage to earn this award, and those who have represent the best of society. Over time, the Purple Heart Award has evolved in order to include not just military personnel, but communities and schools as well. In order for a school to earn a Purple Heart, they have to be staunch supporters of veterans and their families, as well as people who were injured in combat. For example, schools can have their students write and send out letters to people actively serving or host a breakfast for veterans to come and enjoy themselves every Veterans Day. These are 2 ways that Palmer Trinity has supported the United States veterans. Today we are honored to have Captain Paul D'Amato join us. He earned his Purple Heart while serving as a platoon leader, Company Commander, Air and Ground Operations Officer, 101st Airborne Division, Republic of Vietnam. Please join me in welcoming him.
Commissioners Pepe Diaz, Danielle Cohen-Higgins, Madam Mayor Karen Cunningham, council members, head of school Patrick Roberts, Chaplain Mary Ellen Cassini, Colonel Morano, faculty, students, parents, friends, fellow veterans. Very good morning to you all, patriots all. On behalf of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, I welcome you to this historic occasion for Palmer Trinity. In 1782, George Washington, General of the Continental Army, had defeated the British General Cornwallis at Lexington, accepted the British surrender, and was awaiting the signed treaty from Paris. He established the Badge of Merit, which was a cloth Purple Heart, to reward the heroes of the War for Independence. Washington's decision to create an award for enlisted and non-commissioned officers was unprecedented in the world. Neither the British, who had the greatest army in the world, which we just defeated, nor any of the European armies had ever decorations for anyone other than their officers. Washington understood that his Continentals were the First People's Army of patriotic volunteers who had fought for the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness guaranteed to our citizens. The general wrote when he established the award, and I quote, "The road to glory in a patriot army and a free country is thus opened to all." Now we have some recipients of the Purple Heart here today, and I have to acknowledge one who I like to embarrass often, but he's a great guy. We have a Purple Heart awardee. He has 3 medals, and that's George Tabor. Please stand up, George. Any other recipients that we have? Please stand. Purple Heart recipients? Okay. George, you're one and only, buddy. Another hero who denies being one and claims to only have done his duty. We, the women and men of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, are the ones who fought beside the real heroes who gave their lives so that we may peacefully assemble here today. Until now, only universities, cities, counties, and municipalities have been afforded the honor to fly our Purple Heart flag under Old Glory. Because this school honors our veterans and adheres to the finest principles, we invited you to become the first private Purple Heart secondary school in the state of Florida. We ask you to ensure that our values of Americanism, citizenship, patriotism, and reverence are instilled in every next generation ad infinitum. Mr. Roberts, please come forward. On behalf of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, this is a special recognition award bestowed with pride to Palmetto Trinity Preparatory School, the first Purple Heart high school in Florida, honoring American veterans, combat wounded, and Gold Star families. Karen, would you come forward, please, and unfurl this for us so we can see? It's going to be raised today outside. I'd be remiss today if I didn't wish a happy birthday to our United States Marine Corps. They are without a doubt the finest fighting force in the world, maybe next to my 101st Airborne Division. Since we're in this house of inspiration and worship, I thought perhaps I would expound on a Bible story if you would indulge me. While we Christians live in the New Testament of Jesus Christ, here in this beautiful chapel, I thought I would share some really good advice for your students from the Old Testament. I am certain that you all remember the story of Noah and the ark. When the Almighty told Noah to build the ark because humanity had become corrupt, and the rain would come for 40 days and nights and flood the earth. Of course, Noah obeyed the Lord and started building the ark on the mountaintop, probably the furthest point from any water. The locals thought he was crazy, insane, a madman, and you all know the rest. But if you ponder the story long enough, you can derive 10 very simple, very sane, even wise, lifetime rules to follow. Number one, most importantly, don't miss the boat. Number two, always remember that we are all in the same boat. Number three, plan ahead. It wasn't raining when Noah built the ark. Number four, stay fit. When you are 600 years old, someone may ask you to do something really big. 5, don't listen to critics, just get on with the job that needs to be done. 6, build your future on high ground. 7, for safety's sakes, always travel in pairs. 8, remember, speed isn't always an advantage. The snails were on board with the cheetahs. 9, if you get stressed, float for a while. Number 10, always remember, the Ark was built by amateurs, the Titanic by professionals. But the most important of all, never forget that no matter the storm, when you are with God, there is always a rainbow waiting. God bless you all.
This is a recognition of the United States veterans, faculty, and staff members. Art Berguristan, United States Marines. John Griffin, United States Navy. Stephen Ralph, United States Army. Oswald Salent, United States Army. Jake Verdon, United States Coast Guard. We thank you for your service.
Good morning. I'm so pleased to be here to have the honor of introducing Colonel Morano. I have read Colonel Morano's bio and attempted to shorten it, but he has done so much outstanding service that I feel obliged to share with you all of his accolades. Colonel Nick Morano, originally enlisted in the Marine Corps Reserve, attended recruit training in South Carolina in September 1980 and continued to serve in the reserves while attending college at St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia. Upon graduation in 1984 with a BS in Finance, he was commissioned a second lieutenant and was ordered to active duty. He qualified as an infantry officer and served on active duty until July 2012, rising to the rank of colonel. From 1985 to 1995, he served as an infantry platoon commander, a reconnaissance platoon commander, an infantry company commander, and a reconnaissance company commander while stationed at California. He also served as a recruiting officer in San Francisco during this time. He deployed to Japan, the Philippines, and Korea, and also completed the Infantry Officer Course, the U.S. Army Ranger Course, Airborne Course, and the Amphibious Warfare Course during this period. From 1995 to 2002, Colonel Morano served in Germany as the Northern Region Operations Officer for Marine Forces Europe, and subsequently as the Regimental Operations Officer for a reserve regiment in California. He attended the Naval School in Germany and deployed to Bosnia and the Republic of Georgia during this period. From 2002 to 2007, Colonel Morano was assigned the Marine Expeditionary Force at Camp Pendleton and immediately deployed to Kuwait in September 2002. He served back-to-back combat deployments to Iraq and operations officer for the initial invasion of Iraq in 2003 and subsequent operations in Fallujah in 2004. In 2006, he assumed command of 1st Battalion, 7th Marines, and deployed back to Iraq. He led the battalion in combat operations along the Iraq-Syrian border. He subsequently attended the NATO Defense College in Rome in 2007. From 2008 to 2012, he was assigned the operations officer for the Marine Corps Training and Education Command in Virginia and supervised all formal training and schools in the Marine Corps. Colonel Morano assumed command of the Corps Premier's West Coast Base Camp Pendleton in 2009 and served as commander until his retirement in 2012. From 2012 to 2020, Mr. Morano adjusted to civilian life and became the city manager of Carson City, Nevada's state capital, and consolidated a city-county. In October of 2020, Colonel Morano and his wife Tammy and their yellow lab Ranger moved to South Florida, where he became the village manager in Palmetto Bay. And that is where he is today. Now please join me in giving a warm PTS welcome to Colonel Nick Morano.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for that fantastic introduction, truly. I'd like to begin by recognizing some of the dignitaries here this morning, fellow Marine and Chairman of the County Commission, Pepe Diaz, our District 8 Commissioner, Danielle Cohen-Higgins, Mayor Karen Cunningham, as well as Vice Mayor Leanne Tellum, Council Member Patrick Fury, and Council Member Steve Cody. I also see a number of the Palmetto Bay police officers here, and I'd like to recognize you for your service on a daily basis. Patrick, thank you for this invitation. I'm really happy the senior class is here today because I really want to talk to all of you. My fellow veterans, thank you all for your service and sacrifice, and it is so good to see all of you here this morning. As Captain Amato said, yesterday was the birthday of the United States Marine Corps. The Marine Corps was actually founded in 1775 in Philadelphia, and in about 8 months later, the first offensive action of the Revolutionary War, 200 Continental Marines seized what was the British port of Nassau in the Bahamas. I always felt that I was cheated, that all my combat experiences were in the Middle East, whereas back then they were going to the Bahamas. I remember the first time I saw Marines. I was 15 years old, and my stepfather had taken me to a parade. He had recently retired from the Navy, and there was a few hundred sailors that were forming up for the parade. I noticed a group, however, about 30 to 40 that looked different. They had dark blue uniforms on, they carried rifles, the officer at the front had a sword. So I remember asking my stepfather, who are those guys? And he said, hey, they're Marines, they're crazy, you don't want anything to do with them. Needless to say, I became a Marine immediately after that. The Marine Corps motto, for those of you who know, is Semper Fidelis. Semper Fidelis means always faithful. But always faithful to what? I think most Marines would answer it, always faithful to God, country, and Corps, in that order. Always faithful to God. 10 years ago to this very day, 11 Marines and a Navy chaplain carried a 13-foot cross 3,000 feet up a steep mountainside and erected a memorial to their fallen comrades at Camp Pendleton. A few months later, an atheist group demanded that I remove the cross as the base commander. I'll be honest with you, I was angry that I was put in that position. If I took the cross down, I'd have thousands of Marines who would be furious. If I didn't take the cross down, then the Marine Corps would get a lawsuit that they didn't want. So I went up and I looked at the cross. And it was the most honest demonstration of love I have ever seen in my life. In addition to the cross, Marines carried 50 to 80 pound rocks up to the site with the names of their comrades engraved on the rocks. They also brought photos, mementos, and full bottles of their favorite beverages. At that hilltop overlooking the Pacific, I felt for the only time in my life that I was truly in the presence of the Almighty, and that He had welcomed them into His embrace. There was no way that cross was coming down. The Commandant of the Marine Corps himself agreed, and that cross stayed. It was added to, and it is still there to this day. Always faithful to country. Okay, so I'm going to be 60 years old in June, and that makes me a boomer, literally. I was a high school senior in 1979, but I was taught growing up that America was the greatest country in the world. I believed it then, and I believe it even more so today. Our faith teaches us that there is no such thing as a perfect human being. And we are certainly not perfect as a country, but we are still the best hope for this entire planet. And I think it's important for every young person to hear that as you live in the most just country in the world, where your ability to get ahead is determined by how hard you work. For all of our faults, millions of people risk their lives trying to get here, of every race and creed. As a veteran, I'm particularly proud that I swore an oath to defend not only our country, but our way of life. Always faithful to the core. You know, what I miss the most about the Marine Corps is the brotherhood and the sisterhood. It is literally the glue that holds the organization together. Marines will literally do anything for each other and for their families. Marines took care of each other on the battlefield, and back home, their families took care of each other. At its most existential level, a Marine would never let another Marine down. So what other things have I learned in my years of service? Well, as you heard, I originally enlisted in the reserves when I was going to college, and I went to boot camp in 1980. My family had a big Labor Day party for me, and I left on September 4th. Immediately after getting off the bus at Parris Island, I realized I had made the biggest mistake of my life. I had never been to prison, but I couldn't imagine prison would be worse than Parris Island was. So as I lay in my bunk that first night, I never felt more alone in my life. And I started thinking of ways that I could go home. Maybe I would just tell them the next day that I made a mistake. This wasn't for me. Maybe I'd fake a knee injury. Didn't seem like anything I came up with that night would work. So I decided right then and there, that first night, that I was going to believe in myself, and I was going to do everything I needed to do to go home. There was only one way I was going to go home, and that was marching off that parade field 3 months later as a Marine. So don't be afraid to fail. In a video that I watched in the 90s, a very young Steve Jobs, who's the founder of Apple, said, quote, "If you're afraid of failing, you won't get very far." And he continued on, "You have to be willing to fail. You've got to be willing to go out and crash and burn." That's important. We all must be willing to accept risk. Not a gamble, but a risk. Being a leader is very often a lonely job. But that brings me to my next point. Think for yourselves. Intellectually challenge everything that you're taught or read. Consider every side of every important issue and make up your own mind without following the crowd. Groupthink will always lead to disaster. You must also have the moral courage to stand up for what you believe in. It was a single child, after all, who pointed out that the king was naked in the emperor's new clothes. In 2005, as you heard in the intro, I took over command of an infantry battalion. That's about 1,000 Marines, and I headed back to Iraq for my third tour. My battalion fought insurgents and al-Qaeda terrorists along the border between Iraq and Syria. We had been at war for over 2 years in Iraq, and nothing was going right. All of our tactics had been developed to fight a country, the Soviet Union, that no longer existed. But due to things like groupthink, we kept just doing the same thing over and over again, hoping that it would change. I was very fortunate. I had a veteran battalion with experienced Marines, and together we innovated completely new tactics to deal with the al-Qaeda terrorists and the insurgents that we were fighting. We treated them more like street gangs, which is exactly how they operated, and we mirrored how big city police departments in the United States tackle organized crime and gangs. The tactics worked, but they didn't come without risk. And the risk was all mine. I took my Marines and pushed them out in small groups. And I even had my commander at the time tell me that it would better work or I was going to pay for it. So you have to have the courage to stand up for what you believe in. I think today, young people have a much harder problem overcoming groupthink. Social media powerfully reinforces that trend. People with different opinions are either bullied into silence or they never speak up for fear of being criticized. The solution for speech you don't agree with is more speech, not silencing a dissenting opinion. I challenge all of you today to think for yourselves and to welcome dissenting opinions and treat those with opposing views with respect. These are difficult times for our country. We seem more divided than ever. No one really knows how this pandemic is going to end. Will it end? Is the economy going to get better? The international crises keep piling up. So are we going to thrive as a country, or is it all downhill from here? Well, to be honest, I'm not going to be the one who determines that. The students in this room are going to be the ones who determine that. And in order to give you a little perspective, I want to quote one of my favorite authors, William Faulkner. He was a giant of Southern literature. In 1950, he was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature. That was a very tough time for America. The nuclear arms race was on with the Soviet Union, and everyone thought as if the end of the world literally was at hand. That was 1950, when William Faulkner gave his Nobel Prize acceptance speech in Sweden. And I'm going to quote some of him. "I decline to accept the end of man. It is easy enough to say that man is immortal simply because he will endure. That when the last ding-dong of doom has clanged and faded from the last worthless rock, hanging tideless in the last red and dying evening, that even then there will still be one more sound, that of his puny, inexhaustible voice, still talking. I refuse to accept this. I believe that man will not merely endure, he will prevail. He is immortal, not because he alone among creatures has an inexhaustible voice, but because he has a soul, a spirit, capable of compassion and sacrifice and endurance. Compassion, sacrifice, and endurance. To me, that sums up the ideal qualities of a veteran. And not just a veteran. Many of the heroes in your own lives fit into those, or have those qualities within them. So I thank all of you for your attention here this morning. I thank you for this kind invitation to share a few thoughts with you. And I want to wish all of you and your families a very happy Veterans Day and a very prosperous, it's not too early to say this, a very prosperous New Year, especially for the seniors who I'm sure have just applied to college. I wish all of you very good luck. A year from now, your lives will be completely different than they are now, and it's an exciting time. So thank you all. Patrick, thank you for the invitation, and happy Veterans Day.
Thank you, Colonel Morano, for your inspiring message. Thank you, most importantly, for your service. And on behalf of Palmer Trinity, we have a small token of thanks, and we hope you'll return soon and often. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It is now my privilege to introduce and ask our honorable mayor, dear friend, parent of a Palmer Trinity alum, Mayor Karen Cunningham of Palmetto Bay. Please welcome.
Whoa, that was a hard act to follow. This is going to be a real hard act to follow. Well, I love that they put me in the program for thanks, because I am really here today with a very, very grateful heart. I'm grateful to be serving with this amazing council, my colleagues that are here today, with this amazing village manager. Let's give him another round of applause. I'm thankful for Palmer Trinity, so appreciative not only for how you've shaped my life and the life of my daughter, but also for this magnificent program that you bring to us each year. And I'm thankful for, I don't know if Celine is somewhere here. Celine Paez, where are you? Yes, let's give her a round of applause. And there she is. But stand up, young lady. And Suzanne Calleja, would you please stand up? Give them a round of applause. This is really a great program they put together. Thank you, Commander. I'm thankful to be serving alongside our police department, and I'm so thankful for our veterans. I'm going to ask some folks to stand, but I'm going to kind of do this in reverse. So we asked all of our veterans to stand a few moments ago. I'm going to ask all those who are here today to thank our veterans to stand. If you are here to thank our veterans, please stand. To our veterans, I want you to look around you. We are all here with very grateful hearts. We thank you for your service. We thank you for your commitment. We thank you for your dedication. So I thank all of those that came here to be thankful and grateful. Thanks for standing. I appreciate it. You can sit down. I also wanted to take a moment to recognize a former colleague, Dr. Feller, if you wouldn't mind standing for a quick minute. I know it's hard to do after sitting for so long. Council member from District 1, we thank you for your service to our community. And our commissioner, I don't know if she's still here, Danielle Cohen-Higgins, we thank you for joining us today. And last but not least, I would be remiss if I didn't ask Tammy Morano to stand, because, would you please stand, Tammy? Yes, thank you. This is Nick's wife. And those of you that are spouses, thank you for letting Nick serve. Those of you that are spouses to military personnel, we know how important the support of a caring spouse, because I know, not personally, but I know that it's difficult. There's many sacrifices families make on behalf of our country as well. So in the spirit of being thankful, if I could ask my colleagues to join me this morning, Councilmember Fiore, if you could walk up, Miss Gail Gregg. We are going to be giving the first Veterans Day Service Award today, and it is going to be named in perpetuity after Commander Bill Gregg. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Bill. Can I get my colleagues to come up as well? Vice Mayor Leanne Tellem, Councilmember Steve Cody. So Commander Clarence Bill Gregg was only 21 the day he helped change the world. It was his first mission since joining the U.S. Navy, and all he knew when he took off from the Enterprise aircraft carrier that morning was that he had to stay in formation and focus on survival. These are his words. Commander Gregg passed away in May. He was 100 years old, and we were so fortunate to have the opportunity, along with the American Legion and so many, I think almost 150 friends passed by that day in January, and Bill passed in May of this year. As a part of his obituary, I wanted to read a small part of it. Bill was a part of the greatest generation and one of the last of the World War II dive bombers, pilots. He passed away on May 5th. He was 100 years old. During World War II, Commander Gregg served on 3 different aircraft carriers, the Enterprise, the Saratoga, and the Shangri-La. He participated in the battles of Midway and several others. Among his many awards were the DFC and the Bronze Star with Valor. After 20 years in the Navy, Commander Gregg went on to continue his service. He became the Director of Training for American Airlines, a Senior Vice President, Sales and Services at Eastern Airlines, and finally the CEO of Provincetown Boston Airways. I'm guessing he really loved to fly. While at EAL, Mr. Gregg was the first Anglo chairman of the Hispanic Heritage Week, vice president of the Tourist Committee for Florida Chamber of Commerce, and chairman of the Tourism Committee, Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce, and served on the board of the International Center. And so this year, we will, sorry, I thought this was open, but I'm going to open it right now, be presenting the Commander Bill Gregg Award to Bill Gregg, and we are going to present it to his wife. Next year, we'll look forward to having Palmer Trinity and the community in the village of Palmetto Bay and our task force, our Veterans Task Force, help us look at nominees. We'll send out an application, and we hope you'll be here to help present the second annual Bill Gregg Award. So thank you very much, and thank you, Gail.
Thank you so much on behalf of my husband and the entire Gregg family. We have lived in Palmetto Bay for over 30 years now, and I can't think of a better place to live and intend to stay here as well. Palmer Trinity is part of our life because my son was baseball coach and golf coach here once upon a time several years ago. So I want to thank Palmer Trinity, the wonderful school that you had here. Even though I live 5 minutes away, it's the first time I'm on campus. Highly impressive, I'll say that. So thanks again for coming. Thank you, fellow veterans, males and females. You done good. That's what my husband used to say. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. And right now we have a bit of a change. We decided to invite you all to get into the mind of a soldier, and our senior Benjamin Arnold will be reading a letter the night before a Civil War soldier passed, and he sent this to his wife. So, Benjamin Arnold.
My very dear wife, indications are very strong that we shall move in a few days, perhaps tomorrow. Lest I shall not be able to write you again, I feel impelled to write a few lines that may fall under your eye when I shall be no more. Our movement may be one of few days' duration, and full of pleasure, and it may be one of severe conflict and death to me. Not my will, but thine, O God, be done. If it is necessary that I should fall on the battlefield of any country, I am ready. I have no misgivings about or lack of confidence in the cause in which I am engaged, and my courage does not halt or falter. I know how strongly American civilization now leans upon the triumph of government, and how great a debt we owe to those who went before us, through the blood and suffering of the Revolution, and I am willing, perfectly willing, to lay down all my joys in this life to help maintain this government and pay that debt. But my very dear wife, when I know that my own joys, I lay down nearly all of yours, and replace them in this life with care and sorrows, when after having eaten for long years the bitter fruit of orphanage myself, I must offer it as their only sustenance to my dear little children. Is it weak or dishonorable, while the banner of my purpose floats calmly and proudly in the breeze, that my unbounded love for you, my darling wife, and children should struggle in fierce, though useless, contest my love of country? I cannot describe to you my feelings on this calm summer night, when 2,000 men are sleeping around me, many of them, the last perhaps before that of death, and I am suspicious that death is creeping behind me with his fatal dart, am communing with God, my country, and thee. I have sought most closely and diligently and often in my breast for a wrong motive in this hazarding the happiness of those I have loved, and I cannot find one, a pure love for my country and of the principles I have advocated before the people, and the name of honor that I love more than I fear death, have called upon me and I have obeyed. Sarah, my love for you is deathless. It seems to bind me with mighty cables that nothing but omnipotence can break, and yet my love for country comes over me like a strong wind and bears me irresistibly on with all those chains to the battlefield. The memories of all the blissful moments I have spent with you come crowding over me, and I feel most deeply grateful to God and you that I've enjoyed them so long. And how hard is it for me to give them up and burn to ashes the hopes of future years when, God willing, we might still have lived and loved together and seen our boys grow up to the honorable manhood around us. I know I have but few claims upon divine providence, but something whispers to me. Perhaps it is my wafted prayer of my little Edgar that I shall return to my loved ones unharmed. If I do not, my dear Sarah, never forget how much I love you, nor that when my last breath escapes me on the battlefield, it will whisper your name. Forgive my many faults and many pains I have caused you. How thoughtless, how foolish I have oftentimes been. How gladly would I wash out my tears every little spot upon your happiness and struggle with all the misfortunes of this world to shield you and my children from harm. But I cannot. I must watch you from the spirit land and hover near you, while you buffet the storms with your precious little fright and wait with sad patience till we meet part no more. But oh, Sarah, if the deed can come back to this earth and flit unseen around those they've loved, I shall always be near you in this garish day, and the darkest night amidst your happiness scenes and gloomiest hours always, always. And if the soft breeze fans your cheek, it shall be my breath, or the cool air cools your throbbing temples, it shall be my spirit passing by. Sarah, do not mourn me, dear. Think I am gone and wait for me, for we shall meet again. As for my little boys, they will grow up as I have done, and never know a father's love and care. Little Willie is too young to remember me, and my blue-eyed Edgar will keep my frolics with him among the dimmest memories of his childhood. Sarah, I have unlimited confidence in your maternal care and your developments of their character. Tell my two mothers I call God's blessing upon them. Oh, Sarah, I wait for you there. Come to me and lead thither my children.
And now we move into a time of prayers of the people led by Nicholas Hernandez, class of 22. Please stand.
Let us give thanks to God for the land where we live with all its chartered liberties, for the wonder of our country's story from 1776. Our country has been a beacon of hope, but also fallen short for some. Let us strive to provide opportunity and justice for all. For the leaders of our nation and state and local community, especially Palmetto Bay, and for those who in days past and in these present times have labored for the Commonwealth. For those in all times and place that have been true and brave, and in the world's common ways have lived upright lives and supported their fellow human beings. For those who serve their country in its hour of need, including those veterans who live in our beautiful town of Palmetto Bay, our faculty, including honorable veterans, and additionally First Lieutenant Michelle Perry, United States Army Aviation Officer, as well as Palmer Trinity School alumni, Second Lieutenant Communications Officer, Kirby Battle, 2010, United States Marines, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Davis, Year 97, United States Army, and Midshipman Duncan Stoner, Year 18, United States Naval Academy. We pray also for those who gave their lives in service to our country, especially our Palmer Trinity School alumnus, Pace Weber, Year 94. O Almighty God and most merciful Creator, as we remember these your servants, remembering with gratitude their courage and strength, we hold before you those who mourn them. Send your mercy upon families and friends who suffer the loss of beloved ones. As this day brings memories of those they have lost a while, may it also bring your consolation and the assurance that their loved ones are alive now and forever in your living presence.
Please be seated as we hear once again from the Pts Symphony.
Thank you again to our students, Mr. McFarland, Ms. Queen, Mr. Lester, for the beautiful performances today on this special time together. I would like to remind all of our guests, our veterans, immediately following this service, in just a few moments, we will gather for breakfast and a time to come together in goodwill and fellowship. That will be in the main dining room, which is just 50 yards away. So we're excited to welcome you and to continue that tradition. Again, I would like to especially thank our veterans. We are grateful. We truly appreciate your service. I'll leave us today with an Irish blessing. May love and laughter light your days, warm your heart and home. May good and faithful friends be yours wherever you may roam. May peace and plenty bless your world with joy that long endures. And may all life's passing seasons bring the best to you and yours. Thank you. Let's go out today. Let's lead with love. Seniors dismissed.
Thank you very much for, this is an amazing ceremony. My name is Jim Loretta. I'm a U.S. Army veteran from Vietnam. Was in Vietnam from 1970 to 1971. One thing that really touched my heart is the outpouring of welcome and thanks to the veterans. But with ceremonies like this, really kind of brings it all back, and it makes me proud to be a veteran and be able to help out.
My name is Al. I'm a Marine Corps veteran from the Vietnam War. I'm also a resident here at Palmetto Bay. I attended the ceremony today, found it to be very nice and honoring our veterans. And we thank Palmer Trinity for their acknowledgement of our veterans and our service. And as a veteran, I would like to say, one should serve their country in any capacity they can, not to be selfish, and sacrifice what you need for your country. Thank you very much.
Captain Paul Amato. I served with the 101st Airborne Division, the 506th, which is the Band of Brothers in Vietnam from 1968 and 1969. And I represent the Military Order of the Purple Heart. We're here today making Palmetto Trinity, which is a wonderful school, the first private secondary school in the state of Florida to become a Purple Heart school. And we want to tell all our students in the country that the price of freedom is the blood that we shed, veterans, to keep our freedoms here in this country. We thank you all for honoring us today, and we hope that you continue your legacy here at Palmetto Trinity to create fine leaders of America for tomorrow. Thank you.
Colonel Cadman and myself, John Morgan, we're here at the Palmer Trinity School celebrating Veterans Day. A lot of beautiful music from the seniors who are about to graduate this year and go off to college. And just a great way to celebrate Veterans Day. And we just finished up with a beautiful breakfast. And it's so proud to live in this country and to be an American.
Well, I'm Colonel George Cadman. It's a pleasure to be here today. I really appreciate the fact that Palmer Trinity took the time and effort to put forth the type of program they did today to celebrate the veterans. The veterans are unfortunately not always recognized, and it's a real honor to be recognized by the community of Palmetto Bay and by the folks at Palmer Trinity. They really have done a great job, and we really appreciate it. And we thank them so much.